keywords by intent, awareness, interest, consideration, conversions, retention, advocate. If we simplify this a little, then there is the green field and non-green field, the gray field. And the green field is what we are fighting for often in SEO. And to get the most of the valuable traffic, very often you're going into the area of questions. Why, how, what, where, etc. And if you go even deeper, you will see some kind of a pattern, which is a very good skill to have in SEO, recognizing patterns. There was this famous movie, Pi, by Darren Aronofsky, and the guy was like crazy mathematician. He was always mentioning that if you take anything from the world, the pattern emerge. In SEO, is more than ever like patterns. Wherever you can find patterns, that's like a win-win. So moving forward, this is the common situation: how, what, and why. How is always the bigger, and how is always bringing the best engagement. Now, whenever I was showing this to anyone, they were always saying like, yeah, I'm buying it. And I was like, why are you buying it? Because, why is very philosophical and how is very action oriented. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of makes sense. So, you wouldn't rather search, why should I buy a car? It sounds nonsense. Or like, why should I open a bank account? I don't know, maybe because you need to keep money somewhere that is not your socks. Then, like, why is like a bit, like, why are we here? We don't know. Yeah, how. And now start from how. Remember, start from how. And I wanted to bring you some stats that would defend my position that I didn't make this up, and I'm not trying to be funny, just entertain you 8 o'clock a.m. And here are some stats. HubSpot, drum roll, the creme de la creme of CRM, and the very, very good company in terms of building content marketing that you can really, really analyze and work that work. And when I analyzed their over 1,000,000 keywords that they are ranking in Google Co UK, I found this pattern that the keywords with how been used been in the ranking much more often than keywords with what, and keywords with why are like just a fraction. 6,600 keywords with why, 53,000 keywords with what, and 149 keywords with how. The others are the others, everything else. And then I prepared another one, Shopify. Probably everyone knows Shopify, another example of a very good content marketing. And you can see that we have over 1,000,000 keywords, and out of this 1,000,000 keywords, how is 90%, 90,000, what 30,000, and why only 2,600. I think it sounds ridiculous to search like, why should I open an e-commerce? I don't know, maybe because you are broke and you need to make some money. So moving forward, in SEMrush there is or SEMrush there is all in questions. I really like this questions one, and today we have a conference, organized conference, and we have a list. Another one is credit cards. So when I typed credit cards and went to the questions and tried to find some keywords which are relatively easy to rank on and also have a nice chunk of traffic. Take a look. Can you get cash back with a credit card? How to pay off credit card? What are the easiest credit cards to get approved for? Can you pay taxes with credit cards? And so on and so on and so on. So if you would be in price comparison website like me for many years back in the day, before I moved to SEO.London, then, starting from this guide where you're writing questions and answers that match the intent what people are typing in search engine is the really, really nice path to go and to get a lot of relevant traffic that will convert. So that was first tactic. The second tactic, brand mention and links. So guys, before we will go into tools, I wanted to tell you my name is Lucas Zelezny. If you are if your name is Lucas Zelezny, that means nobody can spell it except of your mom and dad. And this is really, really blessing when you are trying to go with brand tracking. Yeah, because how many Lukasz, to be honest, it's Łukasz Żelezny. I sometimes, after 40 years, have a problem to spell it properly. But anyway, I can start tracking my name and surname as a brand. And there is Talkwalker, Brand24, Freshweb Explorer, and Google Alerts that rarely works. So we will go into Brand24. Here is Brand24. And you see, I just use keywords. My name as a keywords with space, without space, with some Polish characters, and so on and so on. And this is what I received. This is a report. You can see that this report is running still from 2015 or even 2014, and I constantly aggregating all these mentions, not because I want to pump my ego, just because I can convert these mentions to links. And as you know, links always helps in ranking in SEO. It was always like that, and probably will be for still for some time. So links are not going anywhere. So knowing that, you see, this is like example of text that I've been involved somehow. You can see that Brand24 reported that there was a mention, and I was able to intervene and put a link those days to zelezny.uk. I also could put a link to my company those days I was working for, just simply contacting people and saying like, oh, thank you very much for making live info about our podcast that we had last week. By the way, any chance that that can be something that you can link to you can make my name and surname a link. If they will say like F word and don't bother me anymore with links, fair enough. At least you was trying. At least I was trying. Okay, I was trying. It will not be 100% success ratio, but if 50% or 30% of them will make that link happen, then obviously it's an additional boost in a visibility. And going like that through the reports from Brand24, I've been once shocked like this lady here, and I was like, this is not a good picture in the current climate, I know, but I couldn't find a better one. So this is the text I found, and I was like, hold on, what's going on here? Obviously, we have lots of friends from Bulgaria, so this is probably not something difficult to read for you. For me, as you can see, that was quite difficult, and I'm like, okay, I don't speak Russian, I don't speak Bulgarian. I can understand Russian, and I can speak. I have neighbors, and they sometimes invite me for a Friday or Saturday night. As you know, I was born in Poland, and when we have a couple of shots, then we can figure out that Russian and Polish are from the same family of languages, and then I can talk. But this is only for a couple of hours, and then that skill disappears. I cannot read Russian, and now. So you can see that here is a text, and this phrase was written in Latin alphabet. So Brand24 been able to figure out this. I could contact these people, say, Spasibo большое for mentioning me. And now one question I have, would you be okay to link to my website? And they've been happy to link. You see, there is a link. And since then, we are a friend, and we are sending postcards to each other every Christmas. But yeah, that was working. And you see, this is Majestic, and you can go to Majestic SEO or majestic.com, and you can see how nicely the number of links were growing. Moving forward, because I have only 5 minutes, links and social media profiles. And someone can say like, what he's going to talk here? That makes no sense. I am going to make a lot of sense from that, because this is not about linking from social media profile to your website. It's more about, take a look. That was my website when I launched this. Now it looks a bit different, but it was a fresh website and I was looking for links. And then I was like, hold on, this is my LinkedIn profile. So maybe there are some backlinks pointed from third-party website to my LinkedIn profile rather than to my website. Do I care about backlinks to LinkedIn profile? Not really. LinkedIn have enough links. Take a look, even the name is like LinkedIn, and SEO.London wants to have links to rank on SEO Consultant London and so on and so on. So I had to repoint links pointing to LinkedIn to my website. Went to Majestic and I was like, wow, 20 domains linking to my LinkedIn profile. So I could start approaching these people who are LinkedIn or who linked to my LinkedIn profile in the past, saying like, you know what? Let's be honest. LinkedIn have enough links. And some of them, like here, Remoters by Aleida Solis, who you probably know, my good colleague from the industry, she linked to my LinkedIn, but also added a website word as a link to my website. And here is another example from AccuRanker. You can see LinkedIn was here, but here was actually Zelezny UK link added. So that is the way. Very often an old profile have lots of backlinks and so on and so on. I need to speed up a little, so I will not be going through the details, but if you put every social media profile, then you will see that there are some backlinks, and you may want to approach this website and say like, hey, can you rather link to my website rather than to my LinkedIn or Twitter? Page speed, very quickly, remove all these share buttons. If you want your website fast, really, you may see that people are not using this anymore. All the scripts, external scripts you have there, especially like Hotjar is the example. Hotjar is great, but people sometimes are using Hotjar like, oh, we were using this 3 years ago. So I was like, so why the script is there for since last 3 years, and every time you're going to your website, it's loaded. gzip enable. If you're using WordPress, auto-optimize. That's a very good plugin that can help you. Install Short Pixel. Short Pixel is a compressor for your images, makes your website faster. Perf Matters, that's another one. Perf Matters. That's perfmatters.io, which is making your website faster. Finally, Lazy Load. I like the most the third one, A3 Lazy Load, which is making website faster through the loading images when they are in the viewport, not when the website is loaded. SpeedKit, that's another thing, and Gonzalez plugin, which is the last one to mention. And now the last tactic is a merge tactic, and I have 50 seconds, so that will be like light speed of walkthrough. So imagine the situation. You may have merged, you just need to merge subdomains into subfolders. 9 of 10 times you really want to go that path. So when you see that your client that you're coming have blog.domain.com, go into or suggest to move whenever possible domain.com/blog. Put everything in the same umbrella. So once I had a client who had like blog.domain.com and I wanted to move this into domain.com/blog, and he was like, no, we will move this into root folder. We will move all the articles into root folder. I was like, whoa, you going even more crazy than I wanted. And he was like, yeah, full speed on. We press the button and boom, take a look. This is his performance before we switched and when we switched. So it's not really like you just moving content from one part to the other part. It's more like you generating some kind of synergy. So knowing that I had another client who had old forums on subdomain surprise surprise forums. So that was the subdomain, and I was like, listen, we can take this subdomain and we can put this into subfolder. Are you ready to do this? And he was like, yeah. So we done this, boom. And you can see when is this lovely sweet jump here when we migrated forums from the subdomain to subfolder. It decreased later, but it was still way above oh, take a look, pen. I love this. Always wanted to do this. Oh, you see here, it was way above where it was initially on this level. And results. So this is my client long time ago, before migration, blog migration from the subdomain to subfolder, and their competitors. And this is the same view after. And that was the distance. We just stopped SEO because we were thinking like, this is not fair. Here are also people working, so we need to give them some chance. Yeah. So anyway, that was me. I think I done this on time. My name is Lucas Zelezny. I am living in internet, predominantly in SEO.London. And yeah, thank you very, very much for having me.
That was that was brilliant. Full of great insights and great tips, and I love that you stopped doing SEO just to let others have a go. That's brilliant. So I'm going to bring Borislav Arapchev. Don't know if I've got that right. You're in Bulgaria, which is where a lot of our viewers are right now. SEO strategist at Serpact. You're going to be talking to us about user testing and recording visits and user recording to ultimately get better usability and conversions. How are you, Borislav?
Hi, Johnny. I'm fine, thank you.
Excellent.
I'm happy to talk with you.
So have you got slides that you're sharing?
Sorry?
Do you have slides, PowerPoint that you're bringing up?
Yeah.
So if you want to bring those up, if you want to bring those up, please do.
Start sharing my screen.
So I'm looking forward to learning all about why we should be recording our visitor traffic and what we could learn.
Yeah, I'll explain that now. Just a second. Do you see my screen?
We certainly can.
It is.
You've got 15 minutes. Okay. Go for it.
Yeah, I'll be quick, and I hope it will be useful for the audience. Always real and from our real work, everyday work. Just a brief introduction. I won the SEO Agency of the Year award in 2013 year. After that, later, I joined the Serpact team. I'm very happy about that. We have a lot of success. You can read it here. A lot of certificates, lectures, projects, and our big achievements are that our colleague Dido Grigorov speak at Google Dance Zurich in Google Plex in Switzerland, and make a case study presentation in front of Google engineers, which is a big success for us. And later, Nikola Minkov, our founder of Serpact, was received accreditation from Stone Temple Consulting. It's a big American agency that is working with brands like Amazon, Apple, etc., which is a big honor for us. And the biggest achievement till the moment, we won European Search Awards previous year and Global Search Awards in 2020, and we were the first and only till now Bulgarian agency that won these awards. Okay, let's go to the point. Why, in fact, we do need to record and watch and use records of user behaviors. behavior of our website. It's very important, but let me explain why. Okay, the main purpose of SEO is bringing traffic to your website, right people to the right site, and so they to make orders, to subscribe to your newsletter, to make some leads or requests. But when we have a good increase in our traffic, but we don't see increase in our orders or leads or subscribers, that shows that there is some problem. And we have to investigate and to find where the problem is. It's usually in the website, but we have to find, is it a website structure? Is it the way of ordering product or services? Or maybe product is not well presented, or price is very high or very cheap. That's points that we have to analyze to see where's the problem and what stop these people that are coming to our websites to make leads and to order. Because if all is fine, when traffic grows, orders have to grow also. If it's not growing, there is some problem that we can to find it. Usually, web designers or marketers make some website that is looking good, sexy, fancy, but later we find that this shiny design is not so good for easy ordering of products, of sending questions to the company, etc. Because sometimes it's more difficult to navigate, to use. So this picture explains it very well that sometimes design is very beautiful, but it's not useful, it's not efficient. So we have to find what people want and need, and what is the easiest and short way to finish an order, to send some request, or subscribe to newsletter or something else that we want to be done. So let's focus on tools. What are they? What information do they give us? I recommend using these tools that I'm showing here: Crazy Egg, Hotjar, WikiOrange, and Yandex Metrica. All of them are almost with the same functions and features. Maybe only if you can, Yandex Metrica is really good tool with good information that is giving you, but I think it's making your website more slowly. That is a problem. So I recommend using Crazy Egg, Hotjar, or WikiOrange if you prefer. What are the benefits for us using these tools that they are making records of user behavior and showing it to us? We can catch all the errors in the website and fix them. We can create better usability, which will bring to more orders, more requests, and easy to navigate website. And in fact, it in the final point brings to increasing conversions that we want. This is a screen that you can see when you start using these tools. They are really easy to sign up. It's I think WikiOrange screen. And when you install the tracker, after 1 or 2 days, it starts showing how people interact with your website, what they are doing, how they are doing, and what they are not doing also. You can see now here, I'm showing mobile version of the website, because all of us know that nowadays mobile traffic is much more than desktop traffic. It's about 70% normally. So it's good to test our website mostly with mobile view. You can see where the user is coming, country, how his mobile phone or desk laptop, what kind of hardware he's using, also how much time he's staying on the website. It's important because usually people that don't like our websites, and they are not happy with them, and our website is heavy to navigate to them, they are sitting in the website very quickly, usually under 1 minute. They are sitting some seconds, they don't like something, or they see some problem, and they just close the website. And that's the problem. So we have to find where the problem is and to fix it, because we are losing clients and we are losing money. It's a big problem for each business if they have such problems in their website. So as I say, focus on people that are staying in your website for very short time, some seconds. Usually they made some problem and they leave the website. Case one, I'm showing here a real case. Our client from UK in clinic industry, they make some spring promotion of services, but when we watch the records, we see that on the front page there are some spring promo prices, and in fact in the inner page of the service, prices are old, they are not the same. So it's not correct, you're promoting some promo prices, but in fact in the inner page of the service they are not promo prices, they are the old ones. And we see that how client close the website immediately because there is a misunderstanding, people are different. So he is not sure about the price, which price is correct, he don't like it, and close the website. After that, we notify the owner about this problem. He fixed it immediately, and it was all okay after that. It's a really small error, but watching user behavior in our website shows this error and how to solve it. Another case, client in USA, as you see in the main menu line, there is it's called heat map. It shows where people click the most. So in fact this red color shows people are clicking mostly over there. In this case it is about us section. So they are checking the company, is it solid company, do they can trust the company, etc. Also, I was watching the records and I was amazed how it shows me what to do in a very easy way. People were just watching, people are just wanting to click this picture, and nothing was happen in this time. Also, they want to make some interaction with it. And we see this, make this text link to the main service of the company, and also we put this call to action button also to the main service of the company. After that, we see that making these fixes, it bring better results for the business. People start going to the service and calling and booking this service, which increase the benefits to the owner. It's really simple. Just watch how people interact with your website, and you can see what they need and want, and just follow this natural way. Just do it. Here's the same. As you see, people are clicking mostly on the button book. This bike tour. So in the beginning there is no button, but after that we added, and it was the most clickable place on the website, which is perfect because the owner wants to receive a lot of bookings for bike tours. So looking these heat maps showing where people click the most, you have a wisely analyze which button in which section where to place it. If you place it wrong, you will not receive so much bookings, callings, or requests. But each time you see records, you have to change it, change places of categories, buttons, so to make it more effective. And these so-called funnels, in fact, in all the in the same tools I mentioned before, you can create a funnel. So what does it mean? You want to take client and take him to the place where he is booking something, ordering, buying. Usually, in our case, it was book section, or if it's a e-store, it will be some ordering product or categories with products. So you can say, it's my target place. I want to see how much people will come here and do the action that I desire to be done. So when we make this text clickable and put the button clickable, when publish this button, it also, we say that this conversion is going up, which that is our purpose, our target. So using these tools in watching videos will help you to make this process more effective. It's a short presentation, but if you have time, you can spend many hours to watch this and to make more effective website. Here are some examples of problems that we found with these video tools, which was very effective for our clients. I'm just showing some quick examples that when you check website in your office, all is looking fine, a website is working perfect, but in real world it's not the same. Let's see, on some phones, iPhone here, cookie policy in the bottom is not showing very well, or is hiding some part of the screen. If it's
Borislav,
yeah,
Borislav, we're going to give you 30 seconds, if that's okay.
Oh, okay. I'll skip this. I'll just tell these things, two things, and finish. Very important. If you have a ordering booking form, make it as short as possible. Don't make one surname, family name, may only one field for the name. If you have address, make it as easy as possible, because reflect to your bookings, orderings, and conversions. And also, finally, a lot of websites and even e-shops are using Facebook login to make the process more easy for users, but check it from time to time, because Facebook are making updates, and it's possible Facebook login to stop working, so people cannot be able to login and to order your products and services. Just look at it regularly. Thank you for your attention. It's our contact details. If you have answers, I'll be happy to reply later.
Thanks so much, Borislav. If you stop sharing your screen, if that's okay, thank you. If you do have questions, please do use the Q&A or the chat. We will be answering questions straight after our talks, doing a bit of a panel discussion and Q&A. So please do ask questions. We've got some so far. Please keep adding to those. Next up, we've got Janina Roof. How are you, Janina?
Hey, I'm fine. Thanks so much. I'm quite excited to talk to you.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing keyword research. You've written crossword puzzle or Tetris with words. I mean, you are a trained journalist. You like storytelling. You're passionate about storytelling, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm really passionate about content and storytelling, and I do write poetry, so I do like playing with words and linguistics and languages, and yeah.
I can't get in. You just mentioned languages, and I can't get over. So you speak German, Spanish, English, Dutch, Portuguese, Arabic, French, and I'm guessing there might be some more as well.
Well, actually, I'm able to speak English, German, and Spanish, and that's my working languages. I've been working in Dutch, which is always a bit of an experiment because my Dutch is not really waterproof or solid or whatever. I'm learning Portuguese, I'm learning Arabic, and French is like there. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so talk to us about keyword research. I think you've got some slides as well. Bring them up.
Yes, I'll share my screen. And I think this will be similar to what Lucas was saying in the first part of his presentation. So I'm quite excited to create synergies and so on. I hope you can see the presentation and this great GIF of the Tetris game. You might think when you hear the name of the talk, keyword research, crossword puzzles, or Tetris with words, that this is utter and complete nonsense. And you're absolutely right. I just wanted to have fun while preparing this talk and just talk about stuff that's in my crazy language trained head while I do keyword research. And I still hope you're going to learn something, and I think it's still a way of making keyword research actually really fun and efficient. So I'll just check my clock so I don't pass the 15 minutes, and let's dive right into it. What you can see here is just a great variety of crossword puzzles. For example, the one on the top left, this one here, this is the first crossword puzzle that has been published, like to be considered as a modern crossword puzzle. It was in the New York World, and it's done by Arthur Wine, I think. And it says fun up here, and that's just what crossword puzzles are for me. It's like a lot of childhood memories of being at my grandmother's house, and she always used to have these magazines with crossword puzzles, and she was always doing crossword puzzles, and I was doing the crossword puzzles with her. So when I started working on my first keyword research, the impression I got just intuitively was, this is like a crossword puzzle. This reminds me so much of being at my grandmother's house. So for this talk, I've actually been looking a bit into it, and it's quite interesting. You can see these different sorts of crossword puzzles here in the middle top section of this slide, and there are different styles. So you have the American style grid, and you see that there are some patterns in how the words are arranged. They look quite nice, this shape, and the Japanese style grid as well. It's got these shapes and lines and diagonals, so the words are arranged in a certain order. The British and Australian style is a bit different. So this one is very, very strange, and I think it's used in some countries in Africa, but not like very common. And then you've got the Swedish style grid, which is also very popular in Germany. And I know this one like from the typical TV magazines, and it's like the typical crossword puzzle from a TV magazine. Then in Germany, we've also got these ones down here with the numbers, so every letter has a number assigned to it. So in order to solve it, you need to fill out the number. So you've got the I in the 20, and you need to put an I into every 20, and then you've got the R, so you need to put an R into every 21, and then you can go guessing the words and finding out the other letters. And it's also got this design where you can see a pattern. And then of course you've got the classical finding words, which is also similar to keyword research in a way that you have to find words. So this was like my first impression of a keyword research when I started out. And now in time, I've come to think of it more as a way of playing Tetris with words, because when I have a keyword, I go adding other words to it, and I look for meanings and for search intent and for search volume. So according to what I take away or what I add, there's a different meaning and there's a different result. So it's a bit like Tetris, because you've got all of those shapes and you go adding things, and then things go away and you add all of those shapes together and we get a certain result. So the question, which is really central to me, is how do they all fit together? And this just applies for everything. This is very meta. So in the crossword puzzle, the question is, how do those words fit together in this order? Or in a game of Tetris, how do the shapes fit together? Or even when you play in Scrabble, how can you make the letters fit together? And on the left side of this slide, you've got the keyword example. So I've been working with the keyword bike or bikes. So this is your central keyword. The keyword bike probably has loads and loads and loads of search requests per month, and but it's really general. No one will convert just if they type in bike. So in order to get interesting keywords for your business, you just go adding other words in front of them. So you've got like all of these attributes: a professional bike or a safe bike or a second-hand bike. You can add certain actions in front of that, like to buy, to sell, or to repair. Then you can cluster words into other categories and add them behind your keyword bike. You can look for reviews, experience, shop, etc. And you can group them by target, for women, for children, for dogs. I've got a dog, so I'm very passionate about everything that having to do with dogs. And if you see a lot of dogs in my presentations, that's why. So yeah, this is the central question. How does everything fit together, and how does this metaphor of having a crossword puzzle or a game of Tetris fit to your keyword research? So I've actually done a bit of research to prepare this talk, because this is all just stuff I've got in my head while working, and I think it's funny and I laugh about it at myself. And now I want to convince you that I'm right, so I needed to do a bit of research. And actually, the keyword research and a crossword puzzle, they have quite a lot of things in common, which I haven't been aware about. So this is quite interesting. They're both about putting words or a group of words in an established order. And when you do that, you use a more or less complex pattern. For example, the New York Times in 1924, when crossword puzzles became very popular, they were writing a complaint article, and it says that they found it really stupid to have a game that consisted in finding of words, the letters of which will fit into a pre-arranged pattern more or less complex. So it is actually about seeing patterns and creating patterns. And to do this, you add or replace or remove words and elements, which is what you do in a crossword puzzle when you have the clues and you have to think, like in German, we say you have to think a bit around the corner. So you've got to do a bit of thinking in several steps to find what you're actually looking for. And then, of course, both keyword research and crossword puzzles, you have to work with abbreviations, with variant spellings, with words from other languages. And also they both ignore capitalization, which in English you won't be really worried about, but I'm a native German and capitalization is quite important in German language. We capitalize all of the nouns. So when you've got keyword research, you don't do this. And when you have a crossword puzzle, you don't do this, you just ignore it. And I have to explain this to my clients sometimes. So this is quite interesting. And how should you use this approach when you do keyword research? Well, I've created 3 steps that you can use. And the first one is just playfulness. Just have fun while doing your job, while doing keyword research or whatever you want to do. and you're going to get the best results. So I've got this playfulness sculpture by Paul Manship and the children's games by Peter Bruegel, just to illustrate this concept of playfulness and of having fun, because that's what life is all about playing and having fun, at least in my opinion. Then when you do this, you can notice the patterns and just become aware of differences and commonalities between the keywords and between your word structure, and just become aware of them and make a mental note, because they might be meaningful, they might not be, but just they might be. So you make a mental note and then you check it later. And in the first step, you apply that to search intent, and you ask yourself, like, when your user searches something in a different way, does it actually mean something different? Is there a different intent, or should you just group them together in the same group? So let's see some examples of this. This is a cheat sheet by Aleda Solis. Lucas has already mentioned her. She's really great, and she's just sharing this. You can use it. You can find it on her blog. I've actually got the link in my presentation, so if you want it, I can share it in the chat later. This one is for e-commerce, so you can see those patterns here that she's using. So for the homepage, it's the site name and the online store, which is quite typical, and then when it comes to categories or to product subcategories, to product features, to brands, etc., you've always got this pattern of by the name and then online, or by and name, and you can create keywords this way with the category or with the product. So you can say buy headphones online, or buy wireless headphones online, or just buy wireless headphones, or buy wireless noise cancelling headphones online, and you've got a different product page for all of those, and the search intent is slightly different. And then you can do this with the brand, and you can do this with every single product you've got in your store, and actually create keyword research in an automized way, which is a lot easier, and just check for search volume after that. We've got the same cheat sheet by Aleda for software as a service, and it's funny because I've been doing this keyword research recently for a German client, and afterwards I was looking at this cheat sheet, and it's exactly the same thing. So you've got all of those synonyms, for example, a tool, a platform, a software, a solution, which here we have got the case of a different word, but it doesn't mean anything different, because in this case it's just referring to the same sort of product. It is an online tool, and you want to use this, so you can type in software or platform or tool or whatever. And you can cluster them, in this case, by service type. You can cluster them by product feature, by audience size, or by industry. I'd call that a target. You can just cluster them by your target. So you get keywords like online team collaboration platform. Careful here, if your software is not cloud-based, then you have to delete the online, or at least I'd do that if your clients have to download it. Then you get keywords like invoice payment software, or CRM for small businesses, CRM for financial companies, and so on. So you can just create cheat sheets and pre-organized patterns for certain products and for certain types of websites in order to make your keyword research more efficient. Another example is what I've been doing for a website I want to launch, where I want to publish my poems that I write in Spanish. So the website structure is very artistic. It's more of an offline structure with books, which makes sense for my poems, but I also want to classify my poems into text and then get users onto the website and traffic onto the website through the text. So I want, for example, I want to order all of my poems that make sense into a content category that people look for, and I'll show you some examples of this. So we've got the poems about an impossible love. Those are all of this. All of these people are looking for poems about an impossible love. It seems to be quite a topic. And then we've got the short poems about an impossible love. So of course, if I've got a short poem about an impossible love, I can put that in both categories. But if I've got a long poem, I shouldn't put it into the short poem section. I shouldn't mix them up, because if my users are looking for short poems, they don't want to be clicking through all of my long poems. So this repeats with other sorts of keywords. So we've got the poems to say goodbye to an impossible love, which is also slightly different. The people are looking for, they want to say goodbye. They probably want to just end the relationship and find maybe a poetic or nicer way. I think it's still hurtful, but well, that's their problem. And then you've got the short poems to say goodbye to an impossible love. Then you can group them by target. Poems about an impossible love for a man or for a woman. You've got poems about a love that's impossible and also far away, which is also a different topic. Poems about long distance love. Short poems about long distance love, poems about a love that's far away, poems about distance. So you've got all of these different topics, but they're slightly different, and the poems will be slightly different, and you've got a lot of different search intent which you can use to get traffic to your artistic page. And then you can also cluster them by just features that the poems have, the literary features, like for example a poem in prosa or short poem in prosa or poems in verse and prosa. And I think it was going on with poems in verse as well. Another example is this, which I did for an e-commerce store of a client of mine, and this was a bit tricky because usually this client has a lot of very similar products. It's basically the same product, but he's selling it in packs of 2 and packs of 3 and packs of 4 and so on and so on. And I just wanted to not allocate any keywords and just write that in a title. And he was like, no, I want to allocate keywords with search volume, please. And also they shouldn't cannibalize. And I thought, oh God, this is quite impossible. So I had to get my head around it. How can I do this? So in the German version, which is the one you see on the left, what I did, people are looking for, this is a Tiger Balm, a natural health product, like if you've got a back pain or something. So people in Germany were looking for the German writing, Tiger Balsam, and they were looking for the English writing, Tiger Balm. So I could make a bit of a difference out of that and try to not cannibalize the keywords. Google usually would think it is the same thing, but surprisingly, when we implemented this, my client was quite happy because it seems the week after implementing it, he was selling 6 times that what he'd sold before, which was really, really interesting for me. So the German part was really difficult, but I managed somehow in this way of crossword puzzle of fitting it all together without cannibalizing it and of creating those patterns my client was looking for. And then I did the same thing for the Spanish website. And I thought, oh God, this is going to be so hard and I have to be so creative and it's going to take such a long time and I don't want to do this. And then I looked at Spanish, and the great thing about the Spanish one was there are so many synonyms for balm. So they say balsamo, they say crema, cream, they say pomada, they say unguento. So you could just use the synonyms and not cannibalize it on the pages because there were enough different keywords for every single one of them. And I think you all know this if you've been working in SEO for a long time and you're using Excel and you're using auto-generated keywords, you should know the concatenate formula in Excel. So what you can do is you can just cluster words in order to generate keywords. So here you've got the product type, which can be a sort of vehicle, leisure vehicle. So you may have a bike, inline skates, trekking bike, city bike, etc. You can cluster actions. You can find attributes your products have, like colors or other adjectives. You can add equipment, you can add your target group, you can add situations, or you can add any other cluster you can find of that will fit to your keyword or to your product or to your client's website. And then you can just use the concatenate formula, which you see below here. And of course you have to add the spaces and you have to add other words you might need, like for. And then you can auto-generate loads of different keywords, and you get stuff like buy a blue bike for kids second hand, or new bike reviews, or fast inline skates experiences. Maybe someone who hasn't used fast inline skates before and they just want to know if it's safe. Or buy a bike with a basket, or rent a bike with a dog carrier if you're on holiday with your dog, or repair a cargo bike if you've never done this before. So this is quite useful to generate lots of different keywords in an automatic way. And of course, afterwards you have to go through them and look if they make sense, because it's an Excel formula and it won't always make sense. And I'm finished. Thanks for attending. Thanks for your interest. I hope this was not only nonsense to you, and I hope it was fun, and I hope it was also useful. And since I'm the youngest person here and the one with least experience in SEO of the panel, I actually hope that I didn't tell you a lot of things you already knew. And yeah, thanks a lot.
Really helpful. Yeah, I like the idea of lots and lots of different keywords and finding ways to puzzle them together. How do you know that you're the youngest here? I might be younger.
I don't know. You've all got like 15 years of experience in SEO,
Oh, okay.
and I've got like 5. So yeah,
all right. Okay. Good assumption. I like it. So I'm noticing the time, so I'm going to shorten my presentation just so we can get a bit more of a conversation going. So if you've got questions, please do ask. Put them in the Q&A. I know that we're live on YouTube as well at the moment, which is great. But if you're in Zoom and you've got some questions, please put some questions in the Q&A, and we'll come to them in about 10 minutes time. So I'm going to talk about local search engine optimization and Google My Business. May be obvious, but you need a Google My Business listing. If you have an address or a phone number, you absolutely should have a listing. There's so much search that is local intent, and the power of using your local address is immense. Whether you want to be worldwide and global or not, it really doesn't matter. So 46% of all searches on Google are seeking local information, whereas 97% of search engine users searched online to find a local business. 86% of consumers rely on the internet to find a local business, and almost a third, 29%, search for local businesses at least once a week. So we're talking about this local pack, the map listing. You do a search, a map comes up, you see some search results. You'll also notice that the top result here has a little ad on it, and that's a paid for ad that's done through Google My Business, google.co.uk, or sorry, google.com/business. You can control the free listing in there. It's just like a yellow pages, a white pages listing. You can enter lots of different information, and you can also control ads in there to get higher in the ranks. So we're also talking about being on the maps page and seeing maps listings on the maps page as well. And you start thinking about the keywords that Janine has been talking about. You start thinking about the category that you put the business in. You start thinking about the reviews that it's got. And all of these things can help Google understand how to rank in the Google Maps pack. We're also talking about the knowledge panel on the right-hand side. So when someone does a brand search, we can control what's on the right-hand side. And I'm going to talk to you about how you can do that. And there's just so many opportunities. And it's sort of, you need to feed Google data, give Google lots of your data. Imagine Google as a huge database, and think about how you can put the right data into the right fields and into the right columns. And we're going to be using something called Schema to do that, and I'll talk about that very shortly. So it's simple. Set up a Google My Business page. If you've already got a Google My Business page, start optimizing it. When you do set it up, you need to do a verification, and that's the first tick box to even give you a chance of appearing high in the maps listings. Once you're inside the account, there's lots of different things that you could look at. One of the things that is becoming more popular with Google My Business is posting events, offers, and even blog posts, and sort of using it a bit like a social network. I'm not suggesting that Google is any good at being a social network. They've tried and failed many, many times. All I am suggesting is maybe even once a week, if you've got a blog or a if you've got a podcast, or you've got the best social post on Facebook this week, you could take it and you could put it into Google My Business as a post. And what that does is it puts more content on the into Google's search engine in terms of understanding what your business is about, and it can use that content to then rank you higher in local search. So it's about using Google My Business to add events, to add offers, and also to post content regularly. I'm not saying use it every day. I'm not saying get stuck in there. I'm saying just once a week, take some really good content and repurpose it inside Google My Business. You by the way, if you're wanting a copy of these slides afterwards, you can send me an email and I can send them over to you. There's some stuff at the end that you'll probably want to be able to capture, so don't worry about making notes. Once you're inside Google My Business, it's about entering as many things as possible. So literally every single box you can find, put information in. Think keywords and think, how can I give more information to Google? I've talked about adding events. I've talked about adding offers. Google suggesting that you can create offer posts that look like this, just to give you some idea. I wanted to talk about reviews, really important. So what is your review strategy? How are you going to get more reviews on Google? How are you going to think about when the happy moment is with your current customers or clients, and how are you going to get them to come over to Google and leave a review? Because the obvious common sense thing is, if Google can see good reviews, then there's a more chance of you being higher in the listings. There's lots of different review sites, so don't just think of Google, because Google looks at all of the others as well. So what's your strategy across all the different sites? The other thing that's great in Google My Business is the Insights tab. And in there, you can see things like how people have found your business. Have they discovered you from the brand name, or have they discovered you from searching similar brands? Lots of other things, like, for example, do they see your listing on the search page, or do they see your listing on the maps page? Things like, what action do they take on that listing? So do they visit your website, request directions, call you? What's really interesting is, if you are a local business that has a physical location where people do come to you, you can use the data in Google My Business to understand how far people come. So if you're then thinking of doing some kind of smaller campaign, maybe a direct mail campaign, a leaflet drop, you can understand the area, the size of the area that people actually come to see you. So that it gives you data on phone calls, it gives you data on things like how many people view your photos. Just to give you a few more stats, 30% of Google mobile searches are related to location. 72% of consumers who search for local businesses end up visiting stores within 5 miles. I'm just going to fast forward through a couple of slides. The top SEO ranking factors to get high in Google search. First of all, verify the place page. Secondly, have you thought about the category that your business is in? Is it relevant? Have you thought about the keywords, and have you put yourself in subcategories and thought about adding the products and services onto your Google My Business listing? The next thing that's most important is local citations. So having your business listed in a number of other directories, everything from the yellow pages to all the different. I'm thinking of this being a worldwide. So I was going to mention lots of UK directories, but that would be no good if you're in the UK. So worldwide, where are the big directories where you can add listings of your business? So that's a citation building job. If you go to Google and Google, the top citations to add your business into, you'll find plenty of lists. And it's about giving Google that data to be able to see that you're in many different directories officially with your name and address. The next thing is making sure that your website and your phone number matches Google My Business. Exactly, perfect match, and making it really easy to crawl. So here we talk about schema. And then lastly, it's about having quality inbound links to your website. So what do I mean about schema? Well, schema is a form of language that Google understands. It's sometimes referred to as structured data, rich snippets, markup, featured snippets, microformats, microdata, or RDFs. And ultimately, all it is a bit of code that you put in the HTML of the website that says, look, Google, this is our official business name. This is our official address. This is our official phone number. This is our official postcode. And what's interesting is, if you have any of these businesses, there is a schema specifically for you. So on the left-hand side, we have organization schema. And if you happen to be a sports organization or an airline or a government organization, there's specific schema for you. If not, then you have local business schema, and you can just use the standard local business schema. But inside that, what's interesting is there's things like dentist, library, internet cafe, real estate agent, radio station. If you're one of these things, you absolutely should be using the specific schema for that. So you can control all sorts of things in the knowledge panel, from your social media profiles to your logo to your CEO, when the company was founded, and just really fast forwarding how to build links to your links to your website. Well, there's loads of different ideas, and this is where you will want a copy of the slides. This is the local citations I was talking about, some ideas. But on the next 3 slides, which I definitely don't have time to go into right now, are a ton of ideas on how to get local links. So that's from, talking to a local newspaper, doing something with a local charity. It might be looking at how you can use local images from local photographers. Maybe you can create a Facebook ad that pushes a local guide or a local white paper. On here, a ton of ideas, from listing yourself in a directory that offers free Wi-Fi, or promote local blogs. So loads of ideas. If you want a copy of the slides, I'll put a message in the chat. You can send me an email and I'll send them over to you. I do have a podcast which I'd love you to join me and be a listener. And if you think it's all a load of nonsense and you want to challenge me afterwards, then please do. But what I'm going to do now is bring everyone back. If you've got questions, please do use the Q&A. If Borislav and there's Lucas is no longer there. Borislav, if you want to put your camera on, we'll see if we can get
Borislav Johnny
back.
I'm here.
Cool. We seem to have lost Lucas. Never mind. So what I wanted to do was open it up to questions. I don't know if any of you have had any questions from the last presentation that I did just then. But for now, if we talk about, so Varna's got a question. What are the most important Google ranking factors based on your experience? So, okay, Janina, you've only had 5 years experience in search engine optimization, but instinctively, what would you say are the top ranking factors? Where do you need to focus to get results?
Well, this is like the typical SEO answer. It depends. It really depends on how the website looks, on what your purpose is, what your goals are. But of course, for the German market, what I've been seeing is that good content, great content really gets really good results. Like, this is what Google always says: just have great content and you rank well. And for the German market, this kind of seems to be true. This really works quite well. But I think it is also because in the German market, which is where I am mostly working at the moment, there is not so much competition in SEO. There are not so many good SEOs in just in a broad range in Germany. So you've got it really easy in most cases.
Yeah. Borislav, in your experience, what would you say would be the top ranking SEO factors?
Thank you for the question, Johnny. In fact, it's a complex. Most of us know, I divided into 3 parts. The technical part of the website is very important. It needs to be quick, easy to navigate, and with proper, as you say, schema and other things that we make SEO audits to see the weak points. Second one is content. You have to have rich content, useful for people, and right to the point about topics that you want to rank for. And third one is links to your website. As Lukas mentioned it, also links are very important to have good in quality with higher rating links pointing to your website. So it's the 3 things: technical part, content, and links. It's complex. If you miss some of these parts, you will not achieve this success that you need.
Yeah, and maybe one thing I'd add, is in my experience, just paying attention to all of the details. I think John Mueller posted a tweet a couple of weeks ago or last week, and he said everything is a ranking factor. And it's this is something I have been experiencing when I always pay a lot of attention to all of the details. But when you like miss a certain spot or a certain area, you've got pretty URL structures and for huge e-commerce, and they all look the same. And then there's one URL where you've written the structure a bit differently. For example, the size of the T-shirt you're selling. Then that's a problem. So just like the attention to detail, having everything in order. Google really likes order.
Yeah, very much so, and that's that's one of the things I was talking about then, about putting the data inside the database and making it easy for Google to understand. Yeah, I guess summing that up, it's about really good content, making a website easy to use, and making sure it works on every device, and having some really high quality reputation. So that's around building trust, whether that be through links, whether it be through reviews, or whether it be just simply people recommending you. So I would have said those are the key things to consider. But as Janina and Borislav have said, every box you can tick, the more chance of doing better in Google. Yeah, if you want a copy of the slides that I did, I've just put my email address. And if you just put local SEO slides in the subject, then I can send those over to you. I know Janina has shared the cheat sheets and a couple of links in the chat as well. But feel free to ask for any of our slides. Got a question here. Tell me about a time an SEO strategy went wrong. What did you learn from it? Well, I've certainly got a story if neither of you have. But I'll see if either of you have got an SEO strategy that went wrong. And Janina,
I don't want to. No, I don't want to talk badly about my clients. That's like about former clients. But basically, when something went wrong, it always has to do about how the clients collaborate. So what you learn from it is to pick your clients.
Yeah. Borislav, did you want to add one there, or do you want me to tell mine? Or
sometimes problems are very. Let's see, some clients want to reach success in a quick and easy way. They say, some neighbor or some friend told me to buy 100 links for $50, and it will pump my website in such results for 1 week. It's a myth, and it's old info. It's spammy tactics, and even he's doing it without notifying us for this decision, and we see problems after 1-2 weeks. Websites going down, is not visible, and we see what's happened. And after that, his confession is coming that he's making some spammy tactics to make it in quickly and shortly, but it's very risky and very dangerous, and it's not a long-term strategy.
Yeah, I've actually had this with a client in Google My Business. I was talking to them about reviews, and then they started publishing lots of fake reviews on the weekend. And I was like on a Sunday writing an email, don't do this. And yeah.
So we advise our clients to firstly ask her what they want to do, and to see is it risky or not, is it okay? And after that, to make it happen.
Well, we got penalized by Google back in 2004. Prior to that, we were at the top of Google for everything to do with what we were selling at the time, and huge business. And we got penalized and pushed to page 7 of Google, and no one ever goes to page 7 of Google. And it turned out that what we were doing was we were being told to do by the SEO agencies back in 2004. And in fact, we paid tens of thousands of dollars over an 18-month period, and neither of the SEO agencies we were using could solve the problem. They actually kept telling us to do what Google wasn't liking, but we didn't know that. And it was only in 2005 that I found a guy in New York on $250 an hour. And within 2 weeks, he got us back to page one. And I learned a huge amount. And if I was to tell you some of the things now, you'd probably say, well, yeah, that's obvious. But in 2004, these things were not obvious. So we were hiding text in the background of the page. We were creating doorway pages. We had, multiple domains. But Borislav, you do this, but in 2004, SEO agencies were telling you to do it. And we were at the top of Google for it, and it was working, and it was brilliant. But it all went wrong. And I learned a huge amount. Anyway, so Lily says, what are the best ways to improve your search strategies and to attract high intent customers? So that's about being relevant, isn't it? And it's about making sure that you're sort of being, when you're, that goes back to keywords, Janina, and thinking about choosing the right keywords for the high intent customers.
Yeah, so if you've got, sometimes I've got customers who just want keywords with a lot of search volume, and I try to tell them that's not actually what you want for your e-commerce. What is interesting to you is to have your product and then someone who looks for buy online, and this is a search intent. So if you've got a good product and you optimize for the keyword buy online, and your customer gets directly to the page and they can convert easily, then you get a good conversion. That's about high quality traffic. And of course, then you can have other ways of engaging your audience. Like if you sell car parts and you just want to attract new customers, maybe you can publish a tutorial, but of course they won't buy all of the car parts. This is just to get your reputation and to attract more traffic. So it depends on your goal, depends on your keyword, depends on what you want to do. You're on mute, Johnny.
Sorry, Borislav.
Janina explained it very well. I think also that if you attract new clients or customers, you have to do your job really well. That's the first thing. And again, what Janina said before about details. When you work something, you have to focus on details because they show really big, good agencies and specialists. They are focusing and take care of details because they help final product or service to be really good. That is.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, so Radko is asking, what are some of the more recent Google algorithm changes? Are either of you familiar with any of the recent changes or anything coming up at all? I know that the, for example, Google's going to be focusing on page experience coming up in the talk. That's any moment. And that's going to be focusing on everything from all the basics, so the technical side of things, making sure that the site's mobile friendly, that it's HTTPS, that there's content above page load, that the speed of the site. So I know that's a huge thing. Are either of you familiar with featured snippets being dropped earlier in the year at all?
No, what I've noticed in the December update is a huge impact on medical sites. So I've got several medical clients, and they all went up. So there's one page I created which suddenly got 3K visits a month. They were doing well before that, but we suddenly got 3K visits a month on this page, which is a small aesthetic clinic here, and they got 3K visits a month, and for one page, and we didn't do any link building, we didn't do any tech. I think it's a bit more balanced now, but that was like the impact of the December update on my clients.
Borislav, have you had any? Are you aware of any other updates that are currently going on, or recently at all?
We know about new Google updates, but in fact, long-term focus from Google engineers is, as you know, on good user behavior with a website. to be quick, easy to navigate, and also structure architecture to be logical. You know, that's was these updates are for.
Borislav,
Speed.
Borislav, I'm aware of time, and I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Going back to your presentation, you talked about recording visitor usage. How the danger of that is you end up getting lost just constantly watching videos and watching videos and watching videos. How do you find the best? How do you find the best bits? How do you focus your time, or do you just have to watch them all?
Thank you, Johnny, for this very interesting question. In fact, if your website is going well, you don't need to watch users' records. But as I say, if you have good traffic and a little small few orders, that there is some problem. You have to investigate it. So we make in 1 month, we put 1 or 2 or 3 hours watching these videos. We make a list with errors, problems in the website, and fix it later. So you can watch these records after 1 or 2 months later if things are not going better. But if you make these errors, fix it right, we usually see that orders are growing, also leads and requests, and that's what we need. So you can look regularly.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Amelia is asking, of Vanya, I'm not sure, in your opinion, how important is SEO for the success of online brands? I would have thought that the biggest thing there is all about reputation management. So when someone is searching around your brand, then you want to make sure that page 1 of Google is all about you and it's all good. So that would be where my focus would be initially, on search engine optimization for online brands. I would have thought that also, getting organic traffic is a great way to create profitable business. Janina, I just wanted to finish on a quick question. I don't know if we've got time. You came up with loads of keywords. What happens if you've got 20 keywords that all need to be on the same page? Do you end up just having to...
I cluster them linguistically. So, for example, if I've got synonyms and there's like 20 keywords I can have on one page, you'll never get them into a title or into a headline. And no, it doesn't make any sense. So what I do is like the one you saw with the poems and the short poems and these things. So I'd cluster them and I'd use the one that fits the content of the page in the best way possible, and that gives the best answer to the user queries. And usually, so the idea is you have 20 keywords, but they're just one keyword. That's like the idea of how I structure my keyword research in the meaning. And then if there's a slightly different meaning, hopefully you can create another piece of content for that.
Brilliant. Let's wrap up. If people are looking for us online, Borislav, where do we find you online?
Me? Yeah, our website, serpact.com. I'm active also in Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, using my name. That is unique name, like Łukasz name. So
brilliant. And Janina, where do we find you online?
I'll just share my website for everyone, and you can find me also on LinkedIn and on Twitter. And on Twitter, I'm just posting a lot of private nonsense. It's just fun for me, but you can also find me there if you just want to know what I do in my free time and the stupid things I write in several languages. And and I think if you Google me, there might be some interesting results, but I'm quite happy with my first page of Google results.
Brilliant. Thank you. I've just dropped a link to my podcast. I'd love you to be a listener. And finally, my LinkedIn URL. That's us for today. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to pass it back to our hosted, the conference organizer. Thanks very much indeed. And we'll see you all soon.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Johnny. And
thank you, Johnny.
I'm happy to end this session panel, which was really interesting and really sets me up with the right things. So we are moving next to our video streaming panel right away with content and video marketing. So we are going offline from Zoom and moving back to our website, ecom.digitalforeurope.com. Thank you very much and see you soon.
Thank you.